Hello everyone, we are in your history text on page 22 and we'll read until page 25. The automobile. Try to imagine for a moment the streets and roads around your school without any cars or trucks on them, only wagons and horses and people walking. What would be different? Noise levels? Speed? The number of people going by in an hour? Indeed, these would be significant differences, but other things would have to change as well. Think of the students who go to your school. Do they live close by or far away? If they live far away, how would they get to school without cars or buses? Those who worked on inventing the automobile wanted to increase people's mobility or ability to get from place to place. They did not imagine the many other changes the automobile would bring. Henry Ford. Young Henry wanted to sleep late and tinker with watches and get out of all the farm work he could. His father got up early every day and let Henry sleep in. Mr. Ford generously gave Henry more tools than most boys in those days could ever hope to have. Henry was the oldest child. His parents worked hard and long. They made a good home for their children. Everything seemed rather slow and changeless to Henry. And then something happened that changed his life forever, and in turn changed America. In May of 1876, Henry's mother died. 12-year-old Henry was stunned. His mother had been the light of the whole house, his own guiding star. Henry blamed the hard work of the farm for her death, and somehow the horses that pulled the plow represented in his mind all the work that he believed had killed his mother. He promised himself that he would build a machine that would replace horses. That boy was Henry Ford. When he grew up, he made an automobile that the average person could afford. Automobiles put the horse out of the carriage business almost entirely. Later, Ford's tractors put the plow horses out to pasture as well. Eventually, there were more cars and tractors in America than there had ever been horses. The little farm boy from Michigan became the man who revolutionized modern transportation. Early autos. As early as 1801, some Englishmen had put steam-powered carriages on the road. In 1860, Thomas Rickett drove all around England in his steam carriage. He caused a stir with his noisy machine. Soon there was a big debate over such horseless conveyances. People who wanted to stop steam cars were happy when the Red Flag Act was passed in 1865. This English law said that such vehicles could go only 2 miles an hour in town and 4 miles an hour on the open road. Furthermore, someone had to walk in front of each slow-moving car and carry a red flag. However, carriages pulled by horses could go 10 miles an hour. This discouraged people from using steam carriages. Most people chose to continue using horses and railroads. Besides such laws, the steam cars themselves had many drawbacks. For one thing, the cars were large and heavy. Steam engines needed water and fuel to make the steam. Each steam car had to be large enough to carry water and fuel for the trip. The body of the car had to be heavy enough to hold up all the machinery that made it run. Some early cars looked more like the train engines of that time period. The bicycle was extremely popular in the 1880s and 1890s. A few people tried to make steam-powered bicycles. A Frenchman, Leon Serpollet, produced a much lighter steam engine for his tricycle than had ever been made before. In the 1860s, Jean-Joseph Lenoir patented the first gasoline engine. This kind of engine ran on gasoline rather than steam. Later, the German inventor Gottlieb Daimler improved the gasoline engine. His engine provided the basis for most car engines that are used today. The American motor car. Although some wealthy people in Europe had motor cars, the cars were not trustworthy. In fact, most drivers took a team of horses with them in case of breakdowns. But in America, Henry Ford was determined to make a reliable car that average people could own. In 1896, Ford built his first car and called it the Quadricycle. He continued working for several years. Finally, in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T. At last, he had made an affordable, sturdy car.